Welcome to Triumph Beyond Trauma, the podcast that explores journeys of resilience and hope. I'm Rosie Skene, a yoga and breathwork teacher and founder of Tactical Yoga Australia. As a former soldier's wife, mum to 3 beautiful kids and a medically retired New South Wales police officer with PTSD, I understand the challenges of navigating mental health in the first responder and veteran community. Join us for incredible stories from individuals who've confronted the depths of mental illness and discovered their path to happiness and purpose, as well as solo episodes and expert discussions. Together, we'll uncover the tools to help you navigate your journey toward a brighter, more fulfilling life. Whether you're looking for helpful insights, practical tips, or just a friendly reminder that you're not alone, Triumph Beyond Trauma has got your back. You matter, and your journey to a happier, more meaningful life starts right here. Hey friends, welcome back to Triumph Beyond Trauma. It is Rosie here, and today it is just you and me, babe. No guests this week. It is just a little moment for us to pause, to breathe, and talk about something that honestly doesn't get talked about enough, especially in first responder circles, veteran communities, and for those of us who've lived through trauma or support others who have. Today we are going to talk about, I'm going to talk about, the power of breath, movement, and mindfulness. 3 of my favorite things, and for very good reason, because without these 3 things that I would just absolutely not be in the position that I am right now. I would not have experienced near the amount of growth that I have in the last 5 years. And I just find that these 3 things have changed my life immeasurably. And we're not going to talk about it in a fluffy way. We're not going to talk about it in a woo-woo, wishy-washy way. We're going to talk about it in a real tactical, you can use this stuff right now kind of way. So if you are tired, if you are stretched thin, if you are snapping at your gorgeous children, even though you love and adore them, if you're lying awake at night and your brain just won't turn off, this episode is absolutely for you. This is about what they never taught us, and why I believe learning these tools is one of the most radical things that you can do for your mental wellness, whether it be as a preventative postvention like mine, or also just like a maintenance. Like if you're in a good space right now, you can employ these tactics to maintain that level. So let me start by saying something that I wish someone had said to me earlier. It's, you're not weak. You're just carrying too much with too little support. And in my case, like 0 support or knowledge, because we get trained for the chaos. We absolutely get trained to compartmentalize. We get trained to show 0 emotion and get on with the job. But no one trains us on how to come back down. No one tells us that hypervigilance doesn't just switch off. No one tells us that you'll sit at the dinner table and not be there, or have experiences where you feel like you're out of your own body and you can't enjoy what's going on right now because you're so out of what's happening. No one tells us that your kids will be talking and you're looking for an exit, or you go shopping and you choose a part of day where there's not many people there, or you can get in and out of traffic with ease. No one tells us that. No one tells us that our partners will ask us if we're okay, and instead of replying with a yes or no, you won't even know how to answer. I remember a time, and this was before my diagnosis, and I probably already mentioned it before on the podcast, but I was solo parenting. My husband Rob was away doing his ADF training. My kids were all little, like I had a baby and 2 little boys. Life was chaos. And now with the beauty of the 2020 hindsight, I can see that my cup was absolutely overflowing. And one day something happened with the television, and, you know, as a mum of 2 boys and a little baby, the TV was like very helpful at times when I needed it. But this day, the aerial plug that connected the wall to the TV broke. And it was this tiny, simple thing, but that day it was the thing that tipped me over the edge, and I absolutely broke. I was in my kitchen just bawling my eyes out, like just a hot mess, crying, not angry, not yelling. I was just done. I was broken. just like the aerial plug. And my sister was staying with me at the time, and she came out and saw me like that. She was like so worried. I told her what happened and she laughed because it wasn't like an unkind laugh at all, but because for her to look at what was going on and my reaction to such a simple fixable thing was so absurd. And I eventually laughed too through the tears because I knew that we could totally sort this out. But deep down, I just I did not understand why something so small felt absolutely catastrophic and threatened. It felt like it threatened my whole life. And that's the part that no one sees. It's not the adrenaline, it's not the heroics, it's not the urgent runs, it's the confusion, it's the not knowing what the heck was wrong and feeling absolutely ridiculous for reacting the way that I did. I did this many, many times, and I have many stories about the overreacting. And I wish I didn't, but I was so untrained to recognize what was happening inside me. And when I finally started to put the pieces together, I could see that there was a problem, but I still didn't know what that was. And when I did find out, the next question was, well, what the hell do I do now? So for a long time, I didn't have an answer. I went and saw my psychologist, and she is amazing, and I still have her, what is it, 7 years later. There was no handbook. So there was no look after yourself and do these things. If you notice these symptoms, let us help you. No one at work ever taught me how to actually come back to myself, how to deal with the stress, the exhaustion, the constant edge that I was on. Like I was walking on a cliff's edge for a really long time. And when I realized that, that's where my work began. It wasn't about fixing. It wasn't about getting back to normal because there's now a new normal, but it was all about learning and learning that my body wasn't the enemy, even though it felt like viscerally that my body was constantly either in danger or the enemy or something that I needed to hate. I had to learn that my breath wasn't just automatic and that stillness wasn't laziness, it was survival. The breath is one of the only things that we can consciously control that also affects the part of the brain that runs on autopilot, which is the nervous system. And I'm sure you've heard me talk about it before, but when I first started learning about this, I'll be honest, I thought it sounded like nonsense. I mean, I have been breathing literally for my whole life. How could that possibly help? But here's the thing, when you slow your exhale, your body gets the signal that we are safe now. This is okay. And we can chill out and recover. And for people like us, first responders and veterans, that does not come naturally. We have to learn how to do that and to send those messages on purpose. Even something as simple as inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 2, exhaling for 6 seconds, that can absolutely shift you out of a fight or flight in less than a minute. That is not woo-woo. That is biology. That's science. And that is something that I want every first responder to learn, because you can absolutely do that in between jobs. When you are in the car and you have wrapped up one job and you can tell your body, hey, that was intense. That was out of control. And you feel your heart racing and you're in your car and you're notified of your next job. Just take like 2 minutes on the way there, even if you're driving, to inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. 2 minutes and do that. You will notice that your body starts to calm down. And the quicker that you can do that, the less likely you are to suffer PTSD from that incident that you've just attended. In relation to movement, yoga, absolutely for me, was the bridge back into my body. For a really long time, I felt like my brain and my body were two separate beings, and my brain was running the show and my body was simply following. And until I started yoga and I learned how to bring those two back into alignment and feel myself as a whole person again, I was literally that person, like two people. And I thought to myself, I'm not a yoga person. I certainly did not look like any Insta yoga people that I had seen. I was probably about 15 or 20 kilos overweight. And for someone with a short stature, that's some kilos that you notice. But once I started going and started reframing it as, nervous system regulation or something like that, not flexibility, it changed everything. And it's like a snowball effect, once you start taking care of your body in a way like that, that's deeply nurturing. Everything else flows from there. I started training more. I ended up losing that weight, toning up my body, feeling better about myself, eating better. And that all affects your brain, right? One of my very first classes, and I actually did this in quite a few classes. I remember lying in Shavasana at the end and just having tears coming from my eyes. I wasn't crying, like sobbing, but just tears rolling down my cheeks. And it wasn't because I was sad. It's because my body finally, after 12 years, felt safe enough to let go of whatever I was holding in there, which is a lot. I was holding a lot in there. And that movement, that combination of moving my body and the breath, like that cleared away things that I couldn't speak about or speak to my psychologist about. My whole energy shifted. And then after I changed the way that I was breathing and the way that I was moving in my body, the next thing that I started to notice was, without any real training, was that I was practicing mindfulness. And it wasn't like a meditation, because they can be very different things. You can certainly do mindfulness meditations, or just different meditations. This was different. This was not something that I had seen advertised anywhere or practiced, on social media or in any of the yoga journals that I was reading. This was really small snacks, is what I call them, mindfulness snacks. And it was simply like I would be at the beach with the kids and I would be sitting there watching them chase each other or whatever they were doing, and just being so totally aware that I was in that moment and that I was safe. Everything was okay. I could feel the sand between my toes. I could see and hear the waves crashing in the background. I could see my children running and that they were healthy and happy and laughing or screaming or whatever they were doing in that moment. One might be building a sandcastle and the others would very likely have a shovel and be digging some sort of a hole, or trench that would lead to the ocean. Like I caught myself often taking in those moments in my life that before, when my brain and my body were two separate things or beings, that wasn't happening for me. I was missing literally everything because I was in this constant state of fight or flight. My body had learned how to relax and come back into being resting, digesting, all of those things that we want for our bodies. And it sort of happened without not me trying, because I certainly was trying, but without my knowledge of the impacts that it would have on other things. And like I said, mindfulness doesn't have to be an hour or in meditation. It can simply be, where are you right now? Where are your feet right now? What are they touching? Can you feel your breath in your chest? Can you name 5 things that you can see? And that kind of presence, it's not about escaping your thoughts. It's about being in this moment right now with kindness. And trust me, for someone like me who used to be running on edge, it is absolutely revolutionary. And just on mindfulness, before I move on a little bit, that 5 things you can see, I do that now with my children, and I started doing it on one of our walks that we have. So it's 5 things you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can feel, 2 things that you can smell, and something that you can taste, like 1 thing you can taste. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's all about the senses, right? And it's all about noticing, and you can make it age appropriate. You can say, okay, what are 4 things that you can hear? Close your eyes. And they'll say, the 4 things that are loudest right now. I can hear my brother yelling. Or you can take it one step further and go, okay, what is the thing that you can hear the furthest away? And then what's the thing that you can hear a little bit closer, a little bit closer? And what's the thing that you can hear the closest? You can change these things. But when we go on these walks now, at the exact same spot every single time, it would trigger my daughter's memory, and she'll say, hey, Mum, can we play that game where we look for things and hear things? And that's her little cue to say, okay, now it's time that we can do this, and it feels good. And they love it. They actually love it. So if you do it with yourself or do it with your partner, do it with your kids, absolutely, they will love it. Everyone can benefit from that one little practice. It's amazing. But in saying that, let's do a little something together. We're going to do a 2-minute nervous system reset. So wherever you are, driving, walking, folding laundry, please stop folding laundry. Just take this moment with me, and we are going to sit. So adjust how you're sitting tall or standing tall. If you are driving, please, if it's too distracting, come back to this later. It's fine. If you're sitting down and you're safe and you're not driving a car or a heavy vehicle, you can soften your gaze or close your eyes. Do not close your eyes if you're driving. And we are going to breathe. So let's just start with an exhale. And we're going to inhale through the nose. So close your mouth and inhale for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Hold for 2. And let's exhale through the mouth for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to inhale again through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding for 2 seconds. And let's exhale through the mouth for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let our shoulders drop. Inhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding for 2. And exhale through the mouth. Let it go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Unclench your jaw. Let it soften that jaw. Unclench your hands. Have twinkly fingers. Feel your feet. Are they on the floor? Are they in shoes? Are they curled up underneath you? Just notice them. That's all. We don't have to fix it. We're not judging anything. So mindfulness is, right? It's being in the moment and noticing that and not judging at all. Just noticing. Just noticing. That is it. That is mindfulness. That is nervous system care in the most basic form. That is where recovery can truly begin. It is the most basic thing that you can do. And when we practice that daily or several times a day and weekly as a habit, it can change absolutely everything. I remember being on my yoga mat and just thinking to myself, this practice is so powerful and this is changing my life. I could see it after a little while, I started going more and more. I could see that it was changing how my mind was thinking. I was very, like everyone, our minds have a negative bias, but mine was hyper negatively biased because I'd seen and worked with like the worst of humanity for so long, and I didn't see the good that was out there. But it started coming together, gentle, kind acts started coming my way, and I was putting that out into the universe as well. And I remember being on my yoga mat. Of course, I was there a lot and thinking, if only I knew this like 5 years ago, my life would be so different. I could still be in that job, but I'm not. But other people are in that job. And other people are just like me, and they don't know that they can do these things to help themselves. And then I started thinking, like, why? Why don't we go to yoga as cops, as veterans, as, soldiers and firemen? Why don't we, and women, of course, why don't we go to yoga? Is it because it's so woo-woo? Is it because we don't think that we fit the mold? Like, how could people feel safer in going there? And that is the moment that it like all clicked for me. I should be the one to bring this to other first responders. I am a first responder. Hopefully, other first responders and veterans will trust me enough to come and to see that I've lived what they're living and I have grown through what they are going through. So it was a journey, but I knew that I had to create something for our people, something that completely made sense, something that was backed by science, something that wasn't woo-woo. And that is where the first responder mental wellness method was born. It was literally an idea on a yoga mat, and now it is a 12-week journey. And honestly, it is one that I wish that I had years ago. In this 12-week journey, we cover the science, a little bit of neuroscience or psychological science about how our bodies get to where they get to. And then we talk about the science and soul of breathwork, the power of movement to release trauma and tension, the practice of mindfulness and how it fits into real lives where you are either still employed as a first responder or veteran, doing shift work, living remotely, have kids, have a family, have other things that you need to do. This program can fit into that. And then we look at relationships, boundaries, sleep, stress from the lens of someone who's actually lived it. You don't need to be a yoga person. In inverted commas, there's no such thing. There are people who practice yoga. If that is you, you are a yoga person. You just need to be open to learning something that maybe is a little bit different for you, and to healing in a way that feels grounded, it feels practical, and it is 100% real. And if you are curious, and if me talking in this episode has sparked something in you, I want to invite you to check it out. The link is in the show notes. There is no pressure. There is no hype. Just go and take a look. There is a PDF there that you can download if you are insured, and you want the insurers to cover that. Please download that PDF. It is on my website, tacticalyogaaustralia.com. Like I said, the link is in the show notes. The first responder mental wellness method is on there. No pressure at all. Please just take a look. Before we wrap up, please let me say this. With all the kindness in my heart, you are not broken. Although it feels like it some days, and I am there sometimes with you too. It feels like my brain is broken, but you are not broken. We are not broken. We are not too far gone, and you are not weak for struggling. You are human for feeling, and you know what? You have permission to feel. For so long, you get told that you don't have permission to feel and you are not allowed to show emotion. But please, the longer that you hold on to that, the harder it's going to be. The very fact that you are listening to this and you have listened this far to me babbling about things that I'm so passionate about, it tells me that some part of you is ready for peace, ready for softness, ready to stop surviving and to start truly living. The tools are so simple. The process is very, very real, and I am here to walk it with you, alongside you. This journey can be incredible. I really want you to know that no matter what stage you're in right now. I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. I know how full your life can feel, and I never ever take your attention and time for granted. If this episode has helped you in any way, please share it with someone that you care about. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to whatever service you're listening from so you don't miss out what's next. I promise it will not be me again. I have a very special guest coming up next week. I encourage you, please, to take care of your breath, take care of your body, love yourself, take care of your mind, and I will see you very, very soon. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss any new ones. We release fresh content every Tuesday. And while you're there, take a moment to leave us a review. I would genuinely appreciate your thoughts. Don't forget to connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Tactical Yoga Australia and share this episode with your friends, family and workmates to spread inspiration. Your support means the world. My name is Rosie Skene. Join me again next week for another empowering and positive episode of Triumph Beyond Trauma. Until then, be kind to your mind and trust in the magic of your consistent and positive efforts. Triumph beyond your trauma is closer than you think. Have the best week.